Hello and welcome to another episode from the water's edge. We're now in the middle of November and it's well and truly time to get the winter tactics out on the bank. So with that in mind, today we're out doing a spot of pike fishing, and I've got no worries in saying that it's not my expertise in fishing, one of the things I don't do too much of. So I've got a good friend and work colleague next to me, Oliver Harper, who does a lot more of that style of fishing. Not only that, I'm sure you don't mind me saying, he's a bit of a specimen hunter in many sort of styles and does a lot of different fishing, but piking, certainly this time of year, mate, is one of the things that really like to get on the bank. And you have had some really big fish. I know on the Fern and that you've had some really good fish. So hopefully we'll be picking his brains today about what he's doing, why he's doing it, and that sort of fishing. I know most of the time you're on the boat, but we've got a rod fishing already on the bank, and we're going to be fishing dead baits today, and then it is going to be bank fishing on a lake, so a little bit different, but certainly something you're not alien to, and you do a lot of as well. So I've got the second rod here. We've got one fish in. We'll get this one baited and just talk through about why we've got it. So I'll sort of hand it over to you, mate, because I don't know exactly what's going on. I know a little bit.
So we're ledgering deadbaits on alarms and drop back indicators. So what we have here is a simple run rig, basically to minimise resistance when the pike eventually picks the deadbait up. So it's just a simple run rig on a 2-ounce lead with a big eye swivel there.
So that is quite important, isn't it? Like, you don't want any of that resistance. You want it to pick up.
So when that pike would pick that bait up, that will then just feed through that eye nicely.
So you can see that's exactly what it's doing there. That lead's not really doing anything for hooking purposes or anything.
No, that's there as well. If it pivots on that, it'll give you indication at the alarm and at the drop back, you see. And that's just running along a up trace. Now that is made of wire. That's so you don't get bitten off.
So that's something definitely worth talking about, because I've actually never been out with someone who's fished this before, because normally it's just like braid or mono straight down to onto your actual trace. But so this is a wire trace above your trace.
Above the trace.
And the reason being for?
Well, if you're fishing popped up deadbait, or you just don't want any risk of a pike swimming into that and biting
so say if that was sort of popped up here somewhere, that pike could come in from this angle
and take your line,
hit your main line, and without that there, that could be gone. So that's worth a handy little tip, actually. Isn't it worth being there?
Just added security of an up trace, basically.
And certainly you don't want to be losing anything and leaving fish out there with trebles and anything.
It's also nice and easy. You've got a quick link there that you do attach the swivel with your snap tackle on.
So that can just snap on and off nice and easy.
Yeah. And it's also very good when you get the pike in the net. Unclip that, take the rod and the lead away, and then all you've got to unhook is a pike and a trace.
Yeah, so that's so I know pike fishing, that's probably the biggest thing for most people, is the unhooking there.
Definitely. You want to make that as easy as possible for you.
So hopefully we'll touch on that later if we manage to get one. And then we come on to the trace, which from what I can see, I'm assuming you've made this yourself.
Yeah, I make all mine.
Any reason for that length? Or?
No, I just think that's a good standard length. I think it's probably just over 18 inches, maybe a tad more. But I twist and crimp. I was going to say that it's twisted and crimped, and I can see on the hooks as well, there's twisted and crimped. Yeah, that's a little locking whip knot in there. That hook is, that won't move in there. That's locked on there, locked on the wire. And same twist and crimp at the top hook there.
So you've got like double security, double strength on everything. That's not going to move ever, is it?
No. And there's a little loop. You double over the wire, you loop it through, over each prong, back through, and you pull that tight. Then you get a little twiddling stick.
Right.
And you get the tag end of the wire and the trace wire, you nip it and you twist, and then that gives you a nice neat little twisting part there, and just for neatness and a little bit of it, and you crimp it on.
No worries. And then hook size, these pretty big, are they?
Yeah, they're size 4s. You can use size 6s. I wouldn't recommend anything smaller really, but you can go. I know people who do go bigger, but for me, that's a nice size. Yeah,
and
really
we're on
sharp.
semi-barbed with also these little bait flags. And that is worth mentioning, because actually something I didn't realise, that most of the time, and I think I did as well, these are thought to use for attraction, which probably they do work for that as well. But you were saying that you put these on the barbed hooks. So for you know what the barbed hook is really quick,
for ease.
isn't it?
So you've got one barbed hook which you're putting into the bait.
So that's the one that the bait's actually
going
on that
to
one,
be sitting
and then
on that one and that one, and they're just there to indicate which one's got the barb on, really, just for ease. If it's late in the evening and you're struggling to see, you know which one's got the barb on if you want to quickly change a bait. And the other ones,
hooks
and
ready
the barbless
to
ones,
hook the fish.
they've been crimped down just nick the barb down, make it nice and easy to unhook. Yeah,
okay.
And there we are.
So that comes on nicely to, I suppose, a little selection of bait in front of us.
Yeah, we've got a few here.
Anything in particular your favourite, or is it sort of a case of changing around?
Flavour of the month, I suppose, would have to be eels.
Eels?
Would be eel section. You got a little tail section here. It's similar size with a head section.
And that's a nice sort of size,
that's
isn't it?
That's a nice sort of size.
And you've got smelt as well. We've got plenty of mackerel, some lamprey down there.
Got little joeys. Something bigger. I like big baits for big pike.
So it's probably going to be something genuine. You say about big baits, we've got a monstrosity of an eel head sitting here.
That's the sort you'd be using for big broadland pike.
So if you were in perhaps a different scenario, like your normal fishing, big fish on a boat and stuff, you'd step up to just a much bigger bait.
Yeah, and a lot on the boats is float fishing. So you're watching a float, big eel section. I might trim that down a little bit because you don't want the bait to overcrowd your hooks.
Yeah.
When that pike picks it up, you want it to be where there's hooks. You have got the space there where you've got more fish to hook. So I might just trim a couple of inches off that, but I'd like a nice chunky head section of an eel.
But for day, probably a no-go for
probably
today.
A bit too big.
No worries. So I'll let you slip one on. Perhaps we'll change that around. It is worth mentioning that we're hopefully going to be fishing perhaps eel section today because there's a lot of crayfish in there.
Yes.
So not only has Ollie got today to try and catch his fish on camera, he's got to put up with an awful lot of crayfish as well.
Yeah.
And that's just the eels, like quite tough, isn't it? But we've got the one fishing on eels, so to start with, we're going to see how bad those crays are, and pop a smelt on this one.
So this is going to be set up for for a dead bait. Live baits would be hooked slightly differently.
Yep.
So again, nice little red mark tells me that that's the barbed hook. I don't know if you can see, but you try and find a nice area where the tailbone is, and that should just pop through.
Yeah, you heard that pop just then.
Just want to keep that tag.
And in accordance to your trace, that's going to be the trace closest to your lead, isn't it? That goes into the tail.
Yeah, if you can see that there like that.
Yep.
And then the other one, again, the barbed prong would just nick it.
Sort of almost just the length of your hooks.
Try and keep that tight like that.
So that one's pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
All right, mate. Well, I'll let you chuck this out. So that'll be your two dead baits. I know. I noticed leaning against the cars there. You've got a float rod, which we might chuck out later. We'll touch on that a bit more perhaps if we do.
Yeah.
And also if these crays are a problem, I notice you've got a little air injection kit, so you might be popping some baits
I've got a needle. You can just pop a little bit of air in the head, and that just keep it up off the deck and hopefully out of the way of the crays.
No worries. So perhaps a few things to talk through a bit later on, but I think the main importance is to get these baits out there. So let's get this one out there, mate, and then we'll catch up with you in a bit, hopefully, with a fish on the bank.
Lovely.
Over to you.
I sure have, mate.
I've just got to grab something from the car, come back and see you bent over. I'll get the net
just
ready.
a few bleeps on the alarm and it pulled the drop off up.
Is that the one we chucked long?
Yeah, that's the one that has been cast to the distance where that little outlet is, I think. And that was on an eel section.
Nice.
So I don't actually think the bait would have had a chance to thaw.
Feel any good?
Putting up a good account for itself, yeah.
It's a bit unknown, like you said, we haven't pike fished this one yet, so
no,
don't really know what we're expecting. Trying to keep out of your way as much as I can.
Right, I'm just trying to keep it away from the other line here. So looks like
it's a nice fish, mate.
Oh, right. Hooks come out. Put them in the back then.
Well, there you are, mate.
Thank you very much.
Nice start.
That was a bloody good start.
And I must probably say that's got to be one of your luckiest captures, I'd say. I don't know if you could see on camera, the hook's just nicked out the side and we nicked him on the way in. But I think once you lucks in, you lucks in.
Yeah.
And
go.
You certainly don't have to be any expert to see how predatory they look. They're awesome looking fish, aren't they?
Yeah, sure are. So, pale fish. Probably taken on the colour of the water.
Yeah, he's very pale, isn't he?
Bit of colour in there today after all the rain we've had, but yeah, picked up a little eel section.
Just that little inlet there, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it, perhaps with the
little bit of fresh water
coming in, perhaps some bait fish sitting in there.
Definitely.
But that didn't take long, like I said.
Probably hadn't even thawed.
Probably not, no mate, cracking start, but all the sensors along here, I think smell quite important.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. When there's a little bit of colour, they're probably smelling that bait thawing out, a bit of blood off the eel, they're picking that up, and then when they come into contact with it, they can obviously see it with these big eyes here. Might just be the wind.
Thought we were going to get them. It's not going to be one of them.
No.
But yeah, certainly, I mean, like I said, being at the business end here, that is the ultimate predator, isn't it?
Definitely,
definitely. Last thing a little fish sees there, it's not really coming back, I don't think. But
no.
What a great way to start. So I think let's pop him back.
Yep.
Perhaps have a little cup of tea.
That's it.
And see if we can catch another one.
Lovely job.
Well, after that brilliant start, mate, we've just dropped a run a little while ago, which is a little bit annoying, but we're just taking a little moment to have a chat about what we've found, because, well, to start with, we found that both runs come really quick, didn't they? So you was just saying to me, I think the plan is keep moving the rods all the while. Yeah,
I think the pike are finding them quite quickly. If you've cast out and the pike aren't in the area, the crays are just getting onto them. So it does pay to, if you haven't had a run in a sort of half an hour period or even less, reel them in, chuck them out again, and then I think the pike are just finding them a lot. You know, if they're there,
they're getting them pretty quick. So I think the plan is definitely going to be, for the next short while anyway, just move them baits around. And then one thing we have done, we touched on earlier about Ollie injecting some air in. We was playing for bait down the edge here, and
just making sure the right amount of air was in there.
And a crate come along.
exactly, yeah.
So what you've now done is you've injected a bit more air into them, and we're going to pop them right up off the lead.
They're off the trace. So where the lead is on the run clip, they're up off the trace, and then you've got the up trace, so you've got the security there. You can't get bit off, so it's there, hopefully off the deck, so the crays can't.
So that emphasises a bit more about the up trace again, because now with that bait being here, they can come anywhere and not smash through that line. So that's what the plan is from now. And like I said, so we're popping baits up much higher, because that was, well, he just destroyed it, didn't he?
He was that big, and my bait was this big.
Once he probably got hold of it, we couldn't really see it. So that's the plan. Hopefully, I don't know what, perhaps another hour and a half in here, and then we're thinking if we don't have any more in here, we'll perhaps have a move about.
And then there's going to be a limited amount of pike in the area, and we've caught one and dropped one. The baits are back out now, and if nothing comes in the next sort of 45 minutes, then maybe we'll decide to move on.
No worries. And we have just as well plopped that float rod out, a little suspended smelt off there where the crays can't get it. So perhaps as well 3 rods now. You never know, but we're going to fish hard for a bit, and hopefully next time we check back in, we'll be with a pike in hand. Well, Ollie, it's not tempt fate, but that was a nice pickup, wasn't it?
That was. That hadn't settled for very long. I'd only just recast it, and
well, literally what we were talking about, I guess, the fact that fish are finding these baits quick, aren't they? They don't.
And that is the one that we popped up off the trace to get it away from the crays, and I'd only just really put the bobbin on, but this one is fighting.
When a plan comes together.
God, he's pulling.
This one's giving you a real scrap, isn't it?
A lot harder than the last one.
Looks like a really nice fish.
But he's definitely rubbing on something.
It's a real heart in the mouth scenario, isn't it?
There he is, he's up now, yeah. Yeah, it was definitely rubbing on something there.
I'm not even playing him, I think my heart's going.
God, this is really,
it looks like this is one of them ones you just want to see, and
really does feel like there's something, he's picked some weed up, or
I can see on your rod tip he's grating, and
it's going right round that margin there.
There's definitely something that he's either getting in, or he's giving you some real grief.
Got to try and turn him out.
I'll get out of your way a bit. It's more important to get the fish in. Could be something special.
It could be something special, but
or a supercharged
double figure. Supercharged jack.
It's a sturgeon. Well,
and I think he might be hooked funny. I think the hooks are
no wonder why. No wonder why it was giving you a bit of a scrap. When you actually say that, it's funny because I was speaking to someone who's fished here before, and he's also caught a sturgeon.
Really?
Who picked up his dead bait.
Well, that's a PB for me. I've never caught a sturgeon before.
All right, man, let's well, we're gonna have to weigh him. I'll leave him down here. I'll let you get your bits together.
Okay, cool.
And I suppose you better have a look at him. Well, mate,
that's a turn up for the books.
You said it was fighting like a PB. Have you ever caught one of these before?
No, I haven't, and that is a PB.
I'm no pike expert, but that certainly isn't a pike.
There's no pike.
Let's
lift him up.
I've actually, I don't know about yourself, never seen.
No, I haven't.
A sturgeon.
I've never seen a sturgeon in the flesh. It's just right there.
In the flesh, and he's
lively.
He's kicking this end, but
that is.
What a creature! It's like you.
Well, they like popped up dead baits as well.
You probably couldn't write it, could you?
He's quite rough.
He is, isn't he? He's got like the spikes going down here. But who needs to go to Canada, mate? some pike fishing session.
Yeah. Well, that certainly put a bend in my rod.
A random but welcome surprise.
Yeah.
Let's weigh him up then, so you know what your PB sturgeon is. 15.5.
Yeah, settle on 15.5.
That'll do. Let's get him down. Well, mate, congratulations. That's a new PB, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unexpected, but
welcome all the same.
Let's get him back,
Lovely.
though. Let's get him back. Well, after the unexpected surprise of that sturgeon, we had a little flicker of the dead baits around. It went really quiet, didn't it?
Yeah.
So Ollie suggested we had a quick move and packed up. So we've moved round to another swim. We haven't got that long left, but you think perhaps there might be a chance to nick one
definitely.
here?
I think we'd had that pike early on,
then
that sturgeon, and I just think all that disturbance, and it's best to try a bit of fresh water.
Had a bit of that feel that it had gone dead, didn't it?
We put the baits back out, and there was no more, no more inquiries. So we've just come a few swims up and got the baits back out, and hopefully.
That's it. Yeah, the rods are out. Didn't take us long. Like I said, we haven't got much gear, have you? You're travelling light. Quickly pinged them out, and we've probably got, I don't know, 45 minutes left. Getting into dark, sort of that's a time possibly you can chance of sneaking another one out, haven't we, before we go? But certainly been an eventful day. If nothing else happens,
it really has.
If it is a case of just praying for these last few minutes of fishing time that perhaps you can have one more.
One more, yeah.
Well, that's it, mate. Well done. We left it pretty much as late as we dare leave it. We've had the car lights on just so you can see this little end bit, but pretty successful, I'd say, wasn't it? We had the one early on, a few little aborted takes, and obviously the sturgeon, the unexpected sturgeon. But that has been a good day. It was quite funny. We were chatting off camera after that sturgeon, sort of saying how big we expect this pike to come up and be a bit of a dinosaur on the end. But, that was all good fun, and we were chatting. Perhaps we will come back with Ollie and we'll have another go, see if we can perhaps have a slightly bigger pike and a few more in another session. A couple of different things to try that you were saying. So, but hope you've enjoyed it, and obviously cheers for coming out with us, Ollie. And hopefully we'll see Ollie again soon. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on the next one.